Hey guys, this is deadbydawn93 here, back once again for a review. And for tonight's review, I'm actually going to be talking about two really cool new short horror films that I just finished watching that was actually sent to me by the father of the director of the film. And one thing that I thought was cool was that the director of the movie is actually a 9-year-old boy. And when I first found out, how old he was, I was actually pretty impressed right off the bat. I mean, when you have a 9-year-old kid directing a short horror film, that's a big accomplishment, for someone that young. I mean, there's so many great, up-and-coming filmmakers, and they're always getting younger and younger. Of course, there was, Slaughter Tales by Johnny Dickey. He did that film when he was 13, 14, I think. And it's really, it really impresses me when I find out about a 9, 10-year-old kid, doing a movie or writing a book or whatever. So when I first got the message from his father, I was really impressed. I believe it's his father. I was really impressed, not only that his son directed the film, but also that he wanted me to do a review of it. And I thought, I thought I would check both the films out, just to show the kid some encouragement, show him that, people are actually watching his movies and that they're actually leaving an impact. And the two films that he directed, it's a two-part movie called Billie. And basically Billie tells the story of a young boy who ends up getting kidnapped by these two guys that are basically looking for ransom. And then as it goes on, it takes a more supernatural turn. Now as I've said, it's done by a 9-year-old boy, and you can really tell. Of course, the cameras are they're not perfect. Some of the scenes are not lighted perfectly. Some of the acting is not perfect. But the kid that plays the little boy, who I believe is the boy that directed it, did a really great job at acting and playing the I'll say ghost in it. And it's really, really realistic, how he plays. And his grandmother actually did a good job. But basically the film, it starts off with a little boy playing in his room, played by the little boy who did it, Zuma, and he's throwing his basketball up, bouncing off the wall, and his room looks like a typical 10-year-old boy's room. He's got stuffed animals on his bed. He's got posters, video game posters and things like that on his wall, and he starts playing with his basketball, and then he goes into his grandmother's room, which is right next door, and he asks his grandmother, hey, can I go outside and play? And of course she doesn't really want him to go out because it's like late at night. Well, it's not really late, but it's dark outside, and it's raining. But she goes ahead and lets him go outside, and tells him to put on his jacket. So he goes outside, with his jacket, and starts playing in the street, throwing the basketball up to I think there was a hoop there on the side of the street. While he's up there, a car pulls up to him, and a guy gets out and basically tells him that his mother is actually really sick and is actually in the hospital, and that he is a friend of his mother, and tells him, hey, I'm going to take you down to the hospital to see your mom. She'll be fine, whatever. So of course, he takes the boy over to the door, and once he opens the door up, he then grabs the kid and basically throws him in there and starts driving over there. The kid, of course, starts freaking out, starts kicking the back of his seat, and the guy threatens to kill him if he doesn't, behave or whatever. And, during this time, that it's really, really good, impressive acting, I must say. The boy really did look very scared and very worried. The guy who's playing, the kidnapper, he's a real jerk, it's really believable. And, I give them props for both of that. Well, they end up getting to the guy's house, and he's wrestling with the kid, the kid's trying to get away from him or whatever, and he ends up snapping the boy's neck and killing him. And then just basically dumping him into into a little building he has around back of his house. And and then he goes in there. He takes the boy's jacket and the basketball because he still had it with him, and he goes in there and calls up his friend who he's doing it with, and he says, hey, look, man, I killed him and everything, so I don't know what to do. It doesn't explain, why the two guys kidnapped him and where they're getting their money from, but originally it's supposed to be they're supposed to be getting $50,000 for the kid, and then while after he gets done talking to his friend, small things start happening. At first off, like one thing, he starts hearing noises in his house. He starts hearing banging noises. Chairs start moving on their own, and the water turns on and off. And so finally, his friend ends up arriving there, and they get into this sort of argument. He's really freaked out about the noises he's hearing, and his friend, of course, just thinks he's hearing things and everything. And of course, he tells him that he snapped the kid's neck, and he says, well, he snapped his neck, so he's dead, so we're not going to get as much money, Originally it was $50,000, now he's saying, well, it's $50,000 for him alive, and you killed him, so we're probably going to get like $10,000 for it or whatever, and he's really, ticked off about that. So the guy ends up going off leaving, and the friend ends up going off leaving, and he leaves the main guy there alone in his house. And while he's alone, for some reason, he's sitting in his kitchen table, and he gets knocked out by something, and then the lights go out. And that's when you actually see the boy. His face is painted plain white, and he's just got black makeup around his eyes. And I must say, he looks pretty creepy, I must say, and he's dressed all in black. And basically the rest of the movie is just a boy messing with these two guys and trying to get revenge that they killed him. So that's pretty much all I want to go through. I don't want to go through everything that happens, in the story, but for my own personal thoughts, this was actually a very well done movie. Like I said, the camera work was pretty good. There are some scenes in it where, something is happening to one side and the camera sort of pans away from it and it goes back. That was mainly the only thing that really, I felt could have done better. Of course, the lighting really wasn't done very well, but I think that's probably because they just, got a camera and just filmed the whole movie, which actually gave the movie a more, home movie type feel, and it actually made it a more enjoyable, in my opinion. Like I said, the acting is pretty good. At one point, the grandmother does call two police officers, two detectives. It's a guy and a girl, and they go and they're asking her questions. The guy who's playing the detective, he does a pretty good job. The girl is there. I feel like her acting could have been better, but I think she does a good job. And of course, they're going to attack the phone lines, trying to get so that they know if the kidnappers call, to know where the boy's at. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good job acting wise. There was also a scene in which the friend of the guy that kidnapped the boy comes back and basically just starts beating him up because he wants to he basically wants to take a picture of the boy's jacket and his basketball and he's trying to get money from the parents. He ends up beating up the guy that takes him, and I don't want to give too much away of it because I don't want to give away the ending, but that acting was pretty good as well. What else? The music is another thing that was pretty cool. At the very end of the first part, like I said, it's a two-part movie, and at the very end of the first part, there's, I think, some Johnny Cash playing, which I thought was cool. And then at the end of the second part, which I'm not going to go into because I don't want to give too much away, but at the end of it, it's kind of emotional because, of course, grandmother, she's really worried about her grandson, and she's crying. And then the music that's playing is Johnny Cash's Hurt, which I thought really fit the mood pretty well. It really showed, of course, it's a really emotional song on its own, but just to have the thought of a grandmother thinking that her grandchild is dead, it's really emotional, and I think it struck a good chord. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking both these out. You can watch both of these short films on YouTube on the boys' YouTube channel. I'll leave links down below to both parts of the movie. Please go check them out because, whenever I hear of a story of a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old boy doing a movie, or any kid, doing a movie or doing something, I always like to show my support and give them encouragement, because I can really tell that this boy really put a lot of effort into this movie, and it really shows. And I really think that this kid has good potential. I really am looking forward to seeing, what he's doing in the future, and I can actually see him directing some really great horror films in the future. Not only that, but he's also a pretty good actor as well. So I'll leave links down below to both parts. Please check them out, and give it a nice, a like and a nice comment, just to show support for this young boy that's just doing, movies, and just help him with his dreams. I'm sure that this is what he hoped to do. But anyway, guys, that was my review for both parts of Billy. Please check them both out, and if the father is watching this review, your son did a great job, and it's really cool that you're supporting him and helping him out with his movies. So please, just keep doing what you're doing. Continue, doing movies. I'll support, I'll check out your channel every now and again to see what else is going on. So, keep doing it, man, because you got some talent. It's really talented. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching my reviews. Check out both parts, and I'll see you all next time.